Honestly, if you can inhale and exhale through the same hole you shit out of, you've unlocked some next-gen evolutionary DLC. By the way, I was today years old whenever I saw what a frog's ass looked like. But if we slowly zoom into the frog's ass, in between its cheeks, we see something I like to call the all-encompassing anal or colloquial for short. Not only can they breathe, they can lay eggs, pee, and oh yeah, fuck. Bruh. So how does this butt-breathing magic actually work? During hibernation, when frogs bury themselves in mud or water, their lungs pretty much go on vacation. So that's where an anal steps in, pulling oxygen directly from the water. The walls of this all-purpose fuckhole is packed with blood vessels that act like tiny oxygen vacuums. It's efficient, it's life-saving, and honestly, if Apple designed it, they call it eye-hole and charge $9.99 for it. But let's be real, what kind of frogs are doing this? First up, the North American wood frog. This little ice zombie can freeze itself solid during winter. No heartbeat, no brain activity, nothing. Basically, nature hits the pause button on its life. While it's frozen, the frog's lungs take the season off, and its cloaca steps up to the plate, pulling oxygen straight from the water around it. Yup, it's literally staying alive by butt-breathing through layers of ice and mud. Imagine surviving a full-blown winter apocalypse, thanks to your ass. I mean, that's commitment. Then there's the water frog, chilling in Lake Titicaca. Deadass, that's the name. This dude doesn't just breathe through its anal, it's also flexing its extra saggy, baggy skin to absorb oxygen. Think of it like this. If the North American wood frog is the scrappy survivalist, relying on his cloaca to stay alive, the Titicaca water frog is the overachiever with a backup system. All that loose skin isn't just a bad fashion choice, it's designed to maximize oxygen absorption, making the amphibian equivalent of a full-body scuba suit designed as your grandma's thigh flaps. And here's where it gets interesting. Some frogs mix it up. While the wood frog is mostly breathing through its ass in the winter, others, like the bullfrog, primarily rely on their skin for breathing when underwater. Skin breathing might sound like an easier gig, but here's the catch. It only works when the water's oxygen levels are high enough. For tougher conditions, it's ass breathing or bust. Nature really said, if the skin doesn't cut it, just use the ass. Bruh. But frogs aren't alone in this butt-breathing club. Turtles also breathe through their butts, especially during hibernation. Specifically, species like the eastern painted turtle can stay submerged in cold water for months, breathing through their cloaca. But here's the difference. Turtles keep it classy. They're strictly using the cloaca for oxygen exchange and nothing else. Meanwhile, frogs are out here multitasking, using the same hole to breathe, poop, mate, and lay eggs. It's like comparing a dignified old professor, turtles, to a wild frat bro, frogs. And let's not forget the science. In 2021, researchers ran a case study on rectal oxygen delivery. In layman's terms, they was dead-ass researching how or if humans could possibly breathe through their asshole. They tested it on mice and pigs, pumping oxygen directly into their butts, and it actually worked. The animals survived longer in low oxygen environments, proving that with the right tech, humans might one day to be able to survive an emergency with their own cloaca-inspired setup. Imagine being in the ER and the doctor says, "Alright, drop your pants. This might feel weird." I mean, fuck AI, sign me up for that. That's where the real future's at, folks. But here's the downside to butt breathing, as if it's not obvious. Frogs don't live in sparkling clean water. When they hibernate, they're buried in bacteria-ridden mud, which means that their cloaca is essentially inhaling through a soup of germs. And if that's not bad enough, they're also at risk of a fungal infection called this word, or BD, because let's be honest, no one can pronounce that. This fungus infects their skin, which they also use for breathing, and can suffocate them. So yeah, butt breathing sounds cool until you realize it's like trying to survive with a moldy vacuum cleaner strapped to your ass. Also, side note, and this is unrelated, but the Titicaca water frog are actually critically endangered because people are literally stealing them for soup. No, I'm not kidding. In some places, they're blended into drinks called frog juice and sold as miracle cures for everything from asthma to erectile dysfunction. I mean, how the fuck do people even drink this stuff, man? I would puke. And speaking of puking,
about to puke. He's turning green.
Then, vomiting complete.
That frog has guts.
He's passed out in a pool of his own vomit.
Then,
Together, friends, we just witnessed a frog puking out its whole stomach. It's something called gastric eversion, which honestly sounds like a finishing move in a fighting game. When a frog eats something it regrets, maybe a poisonous insect or just some questionable swamp snack, sometimes it doesn't just spit it out. Oh no, that'd be too simple. Instead, the frog literally pushes its stomach out of its mouth, like it's showing off its internal organs in some bizarre biology class demonstration. And that's not all. Once the stomach is hanging out, coated in slimy digestive juices and whatever half-digested horror it just consumed, the frog uses its front legs to scrape it clean. Then, like nothing happened, it swallows the stomach right back where it belongs. Let that sink in for a second. This thing just smeared its stomach contents all over its own face, gave it a quick scrub, and called it a day. But why is this so disgusting? Well, aside from the fact that their stomachs are literally coated in acid and partially digested muck, the whole scraping their hands part is just next level nasty. Imagine pulling out your guts, giving them a quick rinse with your bare hands, and then shoving them back inside. I mean, that's a Tuesday for a frog. And yes, other animals technically do this. Starfish also eject their stomachs, but they do it to digest prey externally, which is arguably way more civilized. They don't go scraping their stomachs with their arms and swallowing them back up like frogs do. And it doesn't even stop there. The mother swallowed her fertilized eggs and turned her stomach into a womb. That's right, her stomach was filled with eggs and tadpoles swimming in bile. But wait, it gets worse. There was once this frog species called the gastric brooding frogs, which are now extinct. These frogs would swallow their eggs, and when it was time to give birth, the mother didn't push them out the usual way. Nope, she fucking projectile vomited fully formed baby frogs out of her mouth one by one. And as if shit couldn't get any worse for these hopping alien-like creatures, they use their eyeballs to swallow food. Bruh. Yeah, that's right. These little fuckers literally shove their dinner down their throats by mashing it with their eyes. So picture this. A frog catches a fat, juicy bug with its sticky tongue. It's a textbook frog move, but instead of just gulping it down like a regular predator, it closes its eyes and the pressure from the eyeballs and the roof of its mouth start pressing into the prey. Those big adorable eyes, they sink deep into its skull, acting like plungers to shove the food down further. It's like their face is a personal trash compactor. And this isn't just a one-time thing either. For bigger meals, frogs would go all in, repeatedly smashing their eyeballs into the food until it's properly lodged in their throat. It's a whole process, and if you're brave, or twisted enough to watch this in slow motion, you'll see the eyes bulge, sink into their heads, and pop back out when they're done. Honestly, it's like a weird hydraulic system designed by nature for maximum discomfort. If humans ate like frogs, every meal would look like a straight up crime scene. You take a big bite of a burger, and instead of chewing, your eyeballs roll back, slam into the roof of your mouth, and start mashing the food deeper down your throat. Your vision? Gone. Your dignity? Out the window. Because nothing says bon appetit like slamming your eyeballs into your dinner while everyone at the table dry heaves. Frogs. They rock the weirdest eating hack in nature, stomach throw-up strategies, and the all-encompassing anal hole. Truly one of a kind.